All right, so this is my second time recording this review because once again, I had some technical difficulties. I lost a bunch of the audio, a bunch of crap glitched out between my capture card and the camera. And now I'm going to talk about a movie. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called Avatar: The Way of Water. If you haven't, you're probably living under a rock somewhere, in which case, get your life together. There's nothing I can do for you. Let's talk about this movie. Thank you so much for checking out the video. Before we get started, red subscribe button, notification bell, do all that stuff I tell you to do every time. Please and thank you in advance. I am James Cameron guy. I'm not Avatar guy, but I am James Cameron guy. I haven't seen Piranha 2. My bad. I have seen Aliens. I have seen Terminator 2. Duh. I have seen True Lies. I've seen Titanic. And I've seen Avatar. I've seen this. I feel like I'm missing something in there. I probably am. I forgot about The Abyss. I've also seen The Abyss. I've seen all his movies. I am James Cameron guy, despite not being Avatar guy. I think that movie is fine. I think it's a very, very good looking movie about a story that we have seen a million times before. It's like this combination of The Last Samurai / Dances with Wolves meets Ferngully. And that is a story, once again, tale as old as time. You know, the protagonist of the story becomes ingratiated with the native culture and has to learn their ways and become one of them and falls in love with a girl, etc., etc., etc. Avatar did that really, really well and looked very good while it did it. The nice thing about The Way of Water is all that stuff is now established and we can continue on with the story. We can tell another story, one that we haven't heard before. A story of family, a story of friendship, a story of sacrifice and doing what it means to take care of your family. That's also a story that's been told before, but at least here it's something different. And really this movie is great. I love this movie. I think Cameron did a great job. I think the best thing about the movie, I really like the story, but the best thing about the movie is how it looks. This movie looks fantastic. And I think this is probably the first time in a long time when I've watched a movie and seen a fully realized world and felt like I wasn't watching something that was CG. That's the goal, right? Is to get something that looks realistic in every sense of the word. And I think Cameron really nailed it with this film. This movie looks gorgeous from beginning to end. I didn't see it in 3D. I kind of got chastised by a coworker and might go see it again in 3D because I've heard that experience is really mind-blowing. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if I'm crazy or he's crazy. So I'm going to go check. I probably go check it out in 3D. But the movie looks outstanding. There's a moment where a bunch of the main characters end up on this island or this like chain of islands kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And it looks amazing. I felt like I wasn't watching a movie. I really felt like I was watching like a documentary, or that's how good it looked. It looked real in every way that something can look real. You can call it photorealistic, you can call it whatever the hell you want. The movie looks amazing, and Cameron really deserves to be commended for that. The end of the movie as well really flexes its muscle from a stylistic and a visual standpoint. That's when it really pops, when you start seeing these characters with blue skin at night, and the way everything looks then is really, really outstanding. And Cameron has finally, I think, gotten to where he wanted to get with the technology. He spent 12 years making this movie. The majority of that is getting the technology where he wanted it, which is IMAX cameras and 3D cameras that he could take underwater. And that stuff all works really well. It's interesting because it makes you wonder, like, I think he wrote the script for the movie and wanted the water segments to be such an integral part that he felt like the technology had to catch up to him instead of writing a story around the technology. And I like that. I respect that. He was willing to wait and put in the time and effort to make it happen, and I love that. This movie is not perfect. I really, really love it. It's probably about 30 minutes too long. Now, some of that I'll chalk up to catching us up on the story. What has Sully and his what have Sully and his family been up to? Why is Quaritch back in an Avatar body? Something that's in the trailers. That's not really a spoiler. And And so this movie just has a lot of catching up to do and takes its sweet ass time doing that. I'll give it a break. I will. I think the next time I watch it, it's not going to feel as long. That's traditionally how these movies tend to go for me. But I think it's a little bit too long and it feels like a long movie. But again, I'm willing to give it a little bit of a pass. Also, like I'm at the point in my life where I just don't have time for trailers, and trailers make every movie feel 20 minutes longer at this point. So that kind of sucks. The other big sticking point I have with this movie is the casting of Sigourney Weaver. Sigourney is a G. She's the like OG, kick-ass, strong. I hate the stereotype, the strong female character. She is. She's awesome in Aliens. She's great in pretty much everything. She's great in Ghostbusters. She's just a badass. And having her, who she's now like in her 60s, got to be in her 60s. Having her play a teenage girl is just weird, and you can't get over it. You can't get over it. It's impossible to shake hearing her voice in the body of a teenager. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work at all, and I don't like it. There's also some predictable stuff that happens with the story that, in terms of like characters that live, characters that don't live, that for me were really predictable. And kind of telegraphed pretty well in advance. And if you've seen movies like this, you kind of can tell what's going to happen with some of the characters. But it wasn't a major drag. I'm just a genius. No, that's not really it. But yeah, love this movie. Think it's great. Got a couple small sticking points. I think it's far superior to the first one. I really like this movie, and I dig it. So hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think of Avatar: The Way of Water. And I'll be here next Wednesday, as usual, 9 a.m.